I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat because it doesn't curve, the water always finds its level.
What'd your teacher do?
She just didn't talk to me anymore. All she did was walk away. And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it.
Up for sound bites. This is awesome.
All right, welcome everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Anti-Religious Scripture Study, episode number 15 with Karen B. and Just Jack. How you doing, Jack?
Very good, Shabbat Shalom. I've had a very busy week. For those of you who do not know or are interested, according to the Torah calendar, the first light of the visible moon was the 7th month, which begins the latter season, if you want to call it fall, but the latter season appointments. And so 2 days ago, I was partying for like all day. So I didn't take any time to even do translating. I enjoyed myself and enjoyed company. Some people did some drinking, some people did some herb, and it was a good time. And also this week, I've been employed, so I've been doing a lot of CAD work as well. So yesterday, because I was off for 24 hours, I let him know ahead of time I'm going to be off for 24 hours, and I told him I'd hit it hard yesterday, and I did. So we're only going to be doing one chapter today because that's all I got to. But I should be able to pick it up soon, since everything's going to go back to normal here in a minute. And yeah. I also did my first Ask Me Anything video. That was pretty interesting as well.
Awesome.
So do you want me to do my disclaimer now, or anything else you want to put in? I know we started late today. You might as well tell them why we were late today.
Yes, we were late today because today is the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and Brian and I did a stream this morning just all about 9/11 and the media fakery and the hoax and the lies and the gatekeepers and all that good stuff.
And you can watch that video where?
On Rockfin, I believe.
All right.
Rockfin.
Okay.
Brian Stavely, Rockfin.
All right. So the disclaimer. Just Jack's disclaimer to the righteous. If you believe it's wrong to study scripture outside of your religion or denomination, if you believe your religious leaders or church fathers are incapable of having inherited anti-scriptural traditions of men, if you've already made up your mind about the scripture, including the scripture should not be studied at all, then the stream is not for you. To others, if you are open-minded to others' opinions, if you haven't made up your mind about scripture, if you've been turned off to religion but believe there's truth in scripture that may have been changed or hidden by religion, if you live according to scripture and like to dig in and discover more, then this stream is for you. We are looking at scripture in the original language using concordances or dictionaries for root words, as well as context from a non-religious perspective and life experience discussion. We are not here to argue with others about theology or doctrine by the traditions of men, including Catholicism, Christianity, or Judaism. We will be discussing the importance of origins and show how the religion's contradictions to scripture. There we go.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
You might want to recap last week's, just so we can get a context of where we're at.
All right, 1 second.
Yeah, no problem. So in the last chapter, we were looking at Avram was getting old, and he made his servant make a promise by making a testimony.
How far did we get? We went to 25 what again? Was it 18? 25, 18? Because we got to Abraham taking another wife.
Yes. And he was buried by Ishmael and Yitzhak.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
And then the generations of Ishmael. And then okay, so I think we stopped around 21. Perhaps.
I think we stopped
No,
at 18.
it was. I think it was 18. I think you're right.
Yeah, and they
Because
dwelt
we didn't get into Yitzhak's family.
Right.
Oh yeah, there's a header there. Yeah, that kind of helps.
Yeah, it's one of those fake chapter things.
Yeah, it wasn't in the original script, and it's definitely not on my version. Because the thing about those is like sometimes they're good, right? They kind of gives you the context, but sometimes like it's a leading context, right? It'll tell you like this is the explanation of why we can eat whatever we want, and then you read it and it's like that's not what it says. That's your propaganda that you're pushing in the title.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why I'm always leery about those things. So yeah, we're only finishing up chapter 25 today. So
Right.
okay, so yeah, we can go ahead and start at 19.
All right. And this is the genealogy of Yitzhak, Abraham's son. Abraham brought forth Yitzhak. Well, we already knew that though, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's you're getting a context of the family
Okay.
of Yitzhak. So
And Yitzhak was 40 years old when he took Rivkah as wife, the daughter of Betuel, the Aramean of Padan Aram, the sister of Lavan and Aramean. Okay, so it's just talking about Rebecca,
yeah,
Rivkah,
if you
and her
remember when
family.
the servant went to his house, this is where we heard of Betuel and Lavan.
Mm-hmm.
And Lavan's going to show up later in a future generation. The family ends up hanging out together again later. So
Okay. And Yitzhak prayed to Yehovah for his wife because she was barren, and Yehovah answered his prayer, and Rivkah, his wife, conceived.
right. So this is to barren also means to pluck the root. So she has no way to expand her roots. To expand the family. So that's an interesting little Hebrew to English translation there.
And within her the children struggled together, and she said, "If all is right, why am I this way?" So she went to ask Yehovah. What do you mean within
Yes,
her the children struggled together?
they were literally fighting in the womb. So it says they were trying to crush one another. So it's it's the same root as to crush or
Okay.
to beat up.
And Yehovah said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples shall be separated from your body. And one people shall be stronger than the other, and the older serve the younger."
Right. So the younger is gonna overcome and become the greater of the two. So there's this when they're out of the womb, typically, sibling rivalry is a real thing.
Yeah.
So they're struggling to see who's the most important in the family, even though there's no discussion about this. This is a natural occurrence.
Okay. And when the days were filled for her to give birth, and see, twins were in her womb.
Yeah. So it's you won't catch this in English, but there's two Hebrew words for fill because twins mean to fill or to be whole as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same. It's the same description. It's not the same word, but it's the same description. To be full. Her
Okay.
days were fulfilled, and she was full
All
with the
right.
children.
And the first came out red all over, like a hairy garment, so they called his name Esau.
Yeah.
Esau.
So this is kind of interesting. If you want to go and check out the word for red.
The word for red?
Yep.
Okay, how do I find the word for red?
Go back to HSBR or that way.
And how do I make it freaking show up on the side again?
I think you right-clicked red and search. Right-click the number, and search on the actual, right there.
Oh, define. That's right.
Define, yep, that's it. Yeah, we played with this before, so.
That's right.
All right, so
Is
now
that
go
the
to the
right
ancient
one?
Hebrew.
Yes, reddish. Admoni, ancient Hebrew. Okay.
Yep, admoni, yep.
Blood.
So the root of it is blood, right? So this is the same root as Adam. You know Adam?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
As in
First man.
mankind, I will bleed. That comes from the Adamah, which means the ground, right?
Right.
So if you go over there to the translation in the middle, third line down from the right, I got to fix that for you. Sorry, it went right to left on me. Sorry. But if you see from the right there, the first three letters are Adam. On the third row, far right, first three Hebrew letters.
These.
Yep, first three, yep.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Adam. So you can literally translate it as I will bleed of me. So, by extension, blood is red. So, red and blood are the same word. But you could literally translate this as Adam of me, which is mankind of me, even. And the reason that I'm pointing this out is because with Esau, this term appears multiple times because he's red, right? He's got he's enclosed with red. So he's he's a red guy.
Okay.
And they go back to his name, even though Esau, which means that which does and makes. He's the doer. So I don't know why they called his name Esau because hairy, Esau because he's red.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even really understand. Even in the Hebrew context, I don't understand why they called him Esau. Because in this context, it's Adama, or Adoni, right?
Huh.
And then the hair. So.
Huh. And after his brother came out with his hand holding on to Esau's heel, so his name was called Jacob. Yaakov.
Yep, Yaakov.
And Isaac was 60 years old when she bore him.
So Yaakov is that it's a bet vet, right? So it could be a hard or a soft ba. So it's va, Yaakov.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this, if you go to heel on the right hand side, just to the right of heel of, you'll see the three letters there. That's the root word, Akov. It's in the middle of that paragraph in the center there.
Okay.
Yep, right there. So those three letters right there, the three blue letters, that's Akov, which means to restrain or on the heel of. So when you're taking a step and you're kind of like, you haven't actually stepped, but you're kind of like, you got your back foot, you're kind of resting on your back foot. That's why it means restrain. So it's like a ready pose, if you will.
Okay.
So that's why it's restrain or on the heel of, and heel is the same word. So it says that he grabbed his heel, therefore he was called Yaakov. He will restrain.
Okay. And the boys grew up, and Esau became a man knowing how to hunt, a man of the field, while Yaakov was a complete man dwelling in tents.
Right. So here, this is that word that's teenager, not quite an adult, young man, not actually boys. And this is the same hunt as in Nimrod was a great hunter before Jehovah. That's that same word. And a man of the field is actually a man of the full, I believe, which is, perfect place, the whole or full. That's third to the last line down. Yep, right there. So it's not really field, because field is associated more specifically with man-treated ground, right, where you grow stuff. So that should be more like the, this is the already perfect place. Nature. He likes to be out in the wild. Let's put it that way. A man of the wild.
Right.
That makes more sense than field, because a man of the field sounds like he's a tiller, but he's not. He's a hunter. So. And Yaakov chilled in the campgrounds.
Right. All right. And, okay. And Isaac loved Esau because he ate of his wild game, but Rivkah loved Yaakov. Oh.
Right. Yep. So the father loved Esau, and the mother loved Yaakov. And Esau, it says that Yitzhak loved him for his. I like game. Game is much better than the King James Version translation, but it says that he he loves the game in his mouth. He's like, he likes the meat. He likes, but it's the hunted, you know.
Okay. Now it says that Yitzhak loved Esau and Rivka loved Yaakov, but that doesn't mean that. Does that mean that each of them doesn't like the other one?
Oh no, it's just favor.
It's
you
just
know?
their favorite.
Yeah.
They just favor one. That's okay.
And even though parents say, you know, I don't have a favorite, each child is their favorite in specific ways, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're, you know, Yitzhak loved Esau because when he came home, he knew he was getting some meat from the field.
Right.
And again, out from the wild, not the field. And Rivka loved Yaakov, you know, because he stayed at home with her. He hung out with her,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Okay.
He was a mama's boy.
And Yaakov cooked a stew, and Esau came in from the field, and he was weary.
Okay, so pull up your. There you go. So fatigue is like if you look at the 3-letter root word for fatigue, when the when the yod is on the end of the word, this is, you know, the flyers. These are birds. So what does fatigue have to do with birds? Well, it actually has to do with eyelids being like the wings that, you know, they cover your eyes. So like your eyes flutter when you're really tired and stuff. Like you can't hold your eyes up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like flapping wings. And that's what fatigue means. Isn't that weird? So it's like the wings of the eyes.
Oh,
Fatigue.
okay.
Yep.
Huh.
And that boil, it's translated as sod in King James Version, but we kind of think of sod as like, you know, clumps of grass.
Yeah.
But sod is like it's not a term used very often, but like you can still go to like fancy restaurants and get sodden oxen, which is just oxen that's, you know, stewed for a long period of time.
Mm.
So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like what a crock pot does, like simmering. You know, it's not really boil.
It's
however,
braising.
that's the word.
It's called braising.
Braising.
When you cook
yeah.
meat slow and low and liquid, that's braising.
Yeah, and it's still bubbling, but it's not actually a boil.
Right.
I mean, it is, but it isn't. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's very slow boil.
Yes.
But from that, you get pride and presumption. So, like if you're, you know, if you're bubbling at the surface and you presume and you have pride, you know, that kind of stuff, that's also related to it. And the reason that that's important is because they're using it both ways here. You're going to see. So
Okay.
there's another word for cook, but they use this specific word because it can also mean of pride and presumption. So you'll see.
All right. And Esau said to Yaakov, "Please feed me with that same red stew, for I am weary." That is why his name was called Edom.
Okay, so this is interesting. Now, why is his name Edom? Well, you can't see it there in English at all. Where does it say anything about Edom, right?
Mm-mm.
You have to read it in the Hebrew. And it's not the same red. It's actually Edom. And if you look at it, it's Ha-Edom. So it's like you could go back to when Elohim created Ha-Adam. It's the same exact Hebrew letters, which is why over there I put Adam, first blood, all bleed red, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it says Adam twice. So it says Adam. And he doesn't say feed me. He says, let me swoop in like a bird of prey. Like I'm gonna get in there and get
Mm-hmm.
like he really wants that food. And so if you see, it says he pleads, you know, please or praise.
Mm-hmm.
Ha'adom, this because fatigue, I affirm. And then he was called Edom from then on. Edom. Ha'adom, this because fatigue, I am, you know, I affirm.
I don't understand why his name changed.
It's kind of like a nickname. It's just a nickname.
Okay.
He was born Esau, but after this, they called him Edom.
Okay.
because he was like, Adom, like, I want the red, you know,
Okay.
the red,
Okay.
the red, give it to me, you know.
Okay.
So you can also translate this as, you know, blood. So later, even though Esau is a major descendant from great nations, because if you remember, it says two nations are fighting in you.
Right.
Later, they're not called the Esauites; they're called the Edomites.
Right.
Okay. Now, ites is the English. You know, it's actually Edomim, right?
Mhm.
Edomim. So you can actually translate this as the Bloods, right? You know, like the Bloods and the Crips. So, they're the tribe of the red guys. You know, these are the Bloods, right? Like they wear the you know, red bandanas and.
Right. That's funny.
So yeah, they could actually be called the Bloods or the Reds, rather than, you know, their name, because they're named after his nickname, not off of his birth name. And it's, you know, you could just say, you know, if you wanted to be really facetious about it, you could just say, well, they're just the mankind's, you know,
Right.
like they're just a bunch of dudes.
Right. Okay.
But it's more, you know, they, you know, later on we'll read about them, but they're very aggressive. They're very, you know, they see red, if you will.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. All right. Let me go back over here. Okay.
So that's what's called a by the way, that's what's called a Hebraism,
Mm-hmm.
where they use like poetry, where they like use the same word multiple times to describe one thing. So here he's like Adom, for he's called Adom, you know, and he's trying to get to the Adom because he is Adom, which means he's red, right? So he's red, he wants red soup, and he's red with anger, and you know, he's boiling over, and he needs to scarf down that food, he needs to hit it like a bird of prey. So the next verse kind of intensifies it even further.
Okay. But Yaakov said, "Sell me your birthright today."
It's a pretty steep price for a bowl of soup.
Yeah. And Esau said, "Look, I am going to die, so why should I have a birthright?"
Okay, so imagine, it says he was out in the field, right? He's out in the wild. He didn't catch anything today, right? So he's starving.
Mm-hmm.
Not literally starving. Like, this is a day, you know? And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm on the way to death. If I don't have your soup, what difference does it make what my birthright's going to be? Because I'm going to die. I'm going to starve to death. Like,
Yeah.
he's so used to eating, you know, large calories, you know, because he's a hunter,
Uh-huh.
that, you know, one day without meat, and he's like, I'm selling my livelihood for a bowl of soup.
All right.
But he's starving to death from one day. That's hilarious.
Yeah. And Yaakov said, "Swear to me today." And he swore to him and sold his birthright to Yaakov.
Yeah, he's like, words are cheap. Don't tell me that, you know, you're going to die, so why do I need a birthright? Let's swear it, you know. Let's make an oath.
And Yaakov then gave Esau bread and stew of lentils, and he ate and drank and rose up and left. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
It's not despised.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
It's not despised. He gave up his birthright as of in the way that you lose spoils to war. So it actually says he spoiled his birthright. And if you look up the dictionary, you'll see that's the wrong word.
Well, they're both right next to each other, so
Yeah,
it's just...
that's what they do.
Oops. Oh, I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, you were searching for that verse throughout.
Here we go. Baza.
Yeah, go to the ancient Hebrew. That says despise, disdain, but it's not really, because it's about the spoils.
Despise. Pictograph represents a house, and the whatever that is represents an agricultural implement. What is it?
Mattock. It's kind of like a plow, you know, that you put on front of a cow.
Oh, I see. It does look like a side view of a plow. Yep. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's called a mattock, Maddok or something like that. But it was also like when times of war,
attacked.
When times of war were on, they would, you know, disconnect it from the little holder that they used, you know, on the bulls, and they would use that blade as a weapon. So it kind of looks like the what do you call them? from Star Wars or Star Trek, sorry, the very bumpy head warrior dudes
Mm-hmm.
that have their own language. Klingon. It looks like a Klingon blade. Big old swoosh blade.
Right. So,
So
I'm
so
still
you
don't
keep
get
it down,
so
you see
why
it's
does
up the
Esau
spoils of
give up
war.
his birthright? I don't get that.
He's
What?
hungry.
That's it?
Yeah. So this shows his carnal perspective, right? He's Adam,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's thinking very mankindish, right? He's not thinking about the future. He's thinking about the now, self-satisfaction. He's a microwave man with a crock-pot creator, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I want it now, and this is not just to tell the story of Esau. It's also to help us inspect ourselves. Are we so desiring of stuff now that we're willing to give up, everything we could have that's, promised to us? In this world, it happens a lot where people will sell their souls, so to speak, for whatever instantaneous pleasure they can get. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's a lesson. It's a teaching moment.
Interesting. Seems kind of dumb.
Yep, it was dumb of him for sure. Yeah. And he ends up paying for it later, and yeah, it's a whole thing. I mean, we're gonna get into it for sure, but this is kind of the human perspective. It's like, give me what I want now. I don't care what it costs me. I want pleasure. I want that now.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And because of that, he spoiled his birthright. He gave it up.
All right.
Yeah, if you scroll down in those dictionary words, you'll see it it just says spoils and dividing of the spoils, and despised as if something that is lost to spoiled,
Mm-hmm. Something that it has no longer has value.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Anything in chat? Any questions in chat? No, everyone.
I think I only see 3 chatters in chat.
Really? I see more than that. Where are you looking?
I don't know. I popped out the live chat, and it stopped like 20 minutes ago.
Oh, I don't know. It's still there. I see Caleb Brooks, Robbie Turbo, Brian Parker, Tactical Sovereignty.
Oh my goodness! Hi
Vega
all.
Castro, CD, Ammo
I'm not
Walk,
reading the chat. I'm just not seeing the chat.
Nat, Mojo Shop, CD, Flat Earth Sub Genius. Hey, what's up? Persephone. Thanks for being here, everybody. And then on
Yeah,
Rockfin, Aisling 717, Bible supports Flat Earth.
I know those people.
Yeah. Cheers for the tip. Bible supports Flat Earth. Appreciate it. Sopco and Mr. Plamp.
All right. Thanks for joining us at such a later than usual hour. We appreciate you coming out.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
All right. Is that it? Are we done for the evening then?
Oh, wow. Are we already there?
Yeah,
wow, I guess
that's
we
the
are.
last one. It's short.
Yeah. Sorry, folks. Like I said, very, very busy week. I spent 2 days looking for the moon. I actually went out a couple different times, couple different places. Really difficult, mostly worldwide. A lot of overcasting and storms brewing on the night that you should be able to see the sky. I'm just saying, though. But validated with nature, because I'm pretty sure it'll probably be the same for you, Karen. But the last couple of days, in the evening, the temperatures are dropping.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty nice. So yeah, it's nature confirming that yes, we are in that latter season. And also, if I use technology to help me spot the moon, and at this time, the moon and sun start traveling south of west on their setting. and they're rising south of east on the rising.
Mhm.
So it's doing the transition. It's going on its journey. So
Yes. It's going back
And-
south of the equator.
exactly. And so, I have other people that I had somebody in chat a couple days ago that was saying that he's on Yom HaKippurim, which is 10 days later than me. I don't understand how. They're on a completely different calendar, obviously.
Mhm.
But I told him, like, Torah's my plumb line. Like, regardless of, I've dabbled in other calendars, Lunar Sabbatarian, Enochian, Jubilees, the other priests, the Zadokim calendar. I've looked into all those calendars, but to me, it's like if they don't line up with the first instruction given from the Creator, I just put them on the back burner, And the more I do it, the more that nature confirms that I'm on the right calendar, and Karen also confirms because she has Solar Return and Flattoberfest around the same time. So obviously it's the right dates.
It's so funny because I didn't even mean to do it that way, but that's kind of how it worked out, huh?
Yeah, it's beautiful, because you're doing the proper celebration of the early and latter season transitions, because according to Torah, there's only 2 seasons, the early and the latter.
Mhm.
So the early rains and the latter rains, the early harvest and the latter harvest. So
Awesome.
it's good stuff.
Yeah. Love it.
And I, again, appreciate y'all for coming out late. Next time, I will have 2 chapters done. I promise it. I swear it. So it will be done. And I appreciate anybody who's been praying for me, and people who have been supporting me. I appreciate you. Shout out to my Patreons. I appreciate you. And we'll have a good one next week. This was a short one, but it's a good way to start the season. People who really want to get into some scripture study today, go to my channel and watch the video that I did with Witsit. I think it's the 3rd video that we did of Torah study, and I went through the calendar. So if you're kind of wondering, what I'm into right now,
Mhm.
yeah, we are in the season that begins with Leviticus 23:23. So Leviticus 23 has all the appointed times of the Creator. Right now, the transition is at 23:23. So that's the latter season Moedim. All right.
Okay. Awesome. Sorry.
That's okay. Life goes
Child.
on.
Yes.
Doesn't bother me none.
We're about to end though. All right. Yeah. If you want links to Jack's Patreon and everything's in the description. And if you want to get, his version of the notes, if you want to load up eSword and follow along and get Jack's notes and translations, you can do that. It's actually really simple to do. So that's it.
Yeah, you can email me with any questions about the specific subjects we've already covered as well.
Mm-hmm. All right.